On October the 31st, 1517, Martin Luther posted 95 big questions which he believed faced the church of his day to a local church door in Wittenberg, Germany. 500 years later, I decided to post 95 new questions, one a week, to the web, questions which I believe the church must face in the 21st century. I was on the radio this week. I did an interview for the BBC where that old chestnut surfaced again. I found myself in a discussion where Christian faith was being ridiculed as a serious case of escapism, avoidance and delusion. Those who claim it, I was told, have got their heads in the sand. They've been brainwashed. Wake up and face reality was the message. The strange thing, I commented, is that we all exercise what we call trust, but is really faith, every day. Every one of us, bar none. We have to. We can't avoid it. Faith, or to give it its other name, trust, isn't the exclusive possession, therefore, of the religious. In fact, as I explained to my interviewer, in my view, the real heads in the sand approach to life, the most successful piece of brainwashing ever, is the misguided view that somehow it is. We all drive cars that someone else designed. We ride trains and buses that someone else is driving. We eat meals that someone else prepared when we weren't watching. We enter elevators that someone else serviced. Whether well placed or misguided, whether intentional or subconscious, trust, or to give it its other name, faith, is a behaviour that we all recognise as natural. In other words, everyone lives by trust or faith. There's no other option. Whether we place our faith in the latest science, our education, the train timetable, the government, the justice system, our bank, or simply our looks, our health, and our friends, each one of us lives by faith in whatever or whoever we trust to be reliable and true. In the end, the real question, therefore, is not do we have faith, rather it's are the people, the organisations, the investments, the promises and the relationships in which we place our faith day by day and year by year really worth our investment of trust? And our reason, our past experience, our emotions, our friends and families, and our culture, all of these combine to help determine who or what it is that we trust. I trust that the bus will take me to work, that my bank will keep my money safe, that the government I vote for will deliver on its promises. I put faith into action every day of my life. So the widespread myth that faith is the exclusive possession of those who hold religious beliefs is simply false. The issue of whether we place our trust in Christ, in his example and teaching, is simply another dimension to the question around the faith that we express every day of our lives. In fact, it turns out that the statements, I believe in God and I don't believe in God, are equally statements of faith. The difference between believing that God exists and believing that God does not exist is not the difference between the presence and the absence of faith. It's simply the difference in the content of that faith and that belief. Just as the world is filled with self-appointed salesmen and women for God, it's also filled with evangelical atheists who are equally determined to convert everyone who will listen to their belief system, their faith in the non-existence of God, just like the one I encountered on the radio this week. But all this runs even deeper. Although people often talk about the presence or absence of faith as though it's something that we either have or don't have, or that as though it's either here or gone, in fact, faith is much more dynamic than that. When we imagine faith to be something concrete and stable, we miss the point altogether. Faith ebbs and flows. It's like the tide, in and out and in again. It increases and decreases. Those who express faith in anything or anyone must also face doubt. Doubt, it turns out, is part and parcel of faith, never the proof of its absence. The ancient words of Psalm 24 read like this: "The earth is the Lord's and everything in it." Do you believe that? In the end, just like most other things, it's a matter of faith. So the real question is not, do you have faith? But just as I said earlier, are the people, the organisations, the investments, the promises and the relationships you actually put your faith in day by day, year by year, really worth your investment of trust? I'll leave you to think about all that, and I hope to see you next week. I hope you're enjoying Chalke Talk and the opportunity to think through and discuss some of the questions it raises week by week. And with exactly that in mind, I'd like to invite you to one of a series of events I'm doing around the country called In the Name of Love: The Bible, Gender Identity and Same-Sex Relationships. I'll be joined by some notable guests for this series of one-day conferences asking questions about what the Bible has to say about gender identity and same-sex relationships and what it means for us in everyday life. So often, in the church, we struggle to explore and to agree or disagree well when it comes to social issues. In the Name of Love will be different. Just like Chalke Talk, rather than being dogmatic, it will leave plenty of space for discussion and questions. So, no matter where you are on your journey with this issue, you are most welcome. I mean it. We'll be in Birmingham, Manchester, Sheffield and Southampton in the months to come. More details, including sponsorship to attend, can be found in the description on my Facebook page or at openchurch.network/events. Once again, that's openchurch.network/events.